I was telling you about my interest in geology. This is the perspective I want. Right? It has an overlook. Cohoes has the overlook. When the water came down here 11,800 years ago,
yep,
it rose to that height, broke a new trail through the Mohawk. Used to go out by Boston Lake.
Wow.
Boston Lake was the old riverbed. Well, 11,800 years ago, this is speculative,
yeah,
but there was a meteor that struck the earth 11,800 years ago,
okay,
melted gazillions of ice, wow, stopped the jet stream, or not jet stream, the Gulf Stream from flowing,
yep,
which froze for 1,200 years.
Yeah.
England froze.
Yep.
Well, the cause of that was a meteor that melted so much of the glacier that it diluted the seawater. And when it did that, it busted through a new lake, busted through the other side of the Adirondacks and came down here.
Wow.
So that, if you draw a line from that line right straight across, and I used to live up on the hill here,
yep,
which I was on clay and my neighbor had shale, nothing but shale, but 5 feet of clay had gotten washed away,
yep,
in the maelstrom of that flooding.
Wow.
It's huge, but that's what carved out this huge gorge here.
That's amazing. I never knew that. Yeah. That's unbelievable, Norm.
You know, I used to live right on the border, and my mind was always going, why is there clay over here and there are all these rocks here? It's like, I couldn't understand it. And then finally, yeah, I bought a geology book from the museum, the State Museum, and it opened my eyes to just how much went on right in this area.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the pond up here.
Yeah.
Garrett Drive is a road that leads right to it.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
Well, when the flood came, the water was 100 feet above that. So it took, for the time it took it to come down 100 feet, it channeled water right over the falls, right down Garrett Drive, and made a bunch of potholes.
Yeah. And
the pond is just a series of potholes that joined up.
Wow.
And that's why it's fed by springs underneath.
Yeah, Brian used to tell me that his father used to ski down there. That used to be all woods,
yeah.
Gray Street.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, back even into the 50s, I think the first houses that were built here were like 58.
Okay.
But other than that, it used to be Bribberty's farm. He had a 400-acre farm that went all the way up to that dam I told you about, Bribberty's Grove.
Yes.
He used to water his cows in the pond.
Wow.
Yeah, he brought them all the way down to here and all the way back.
Wow. Yeah. I used to walk through Bribberty's as a kid. I used to take very long walks up here, and I would just keep walking. Yeah. Just explore, and it was
and then
really
on your
cool.
way to Turtle Pond.
Sure.
Everybody went there too.
There was just so much to see and so much to look at through here.
Yeah.
I actually think that we used to go sleigh riding down this hill too, over there.
There's 2 toboggan runs that used to come down here.
Yes.
When I was young, they were fresh, and they had like 5-foot walls.
Yeah.
So you would get in. We actually made a path from one to the other, so that you went in on one, you go up the side, then you come down like that. We used to have a...
Oh man, dude, that brings back so many memories. It's like, this is like before the plastic, sleds came out. This is like the actual wooden toboggans with the metal rails, right?
This was the run.
Yeah, that was the run up here, yeah. Interesting. This is great.
So how far you want to go?
Oh, just go to that tower. That'd be great.
Absolutely, yeah. That's a better view of the thing anyways. One of the things that I would talk with that Doug, the lawyer for the Indians, is he goes, gee, the access to our land, the street is called Columbus. What? How insulting. I told him, I think that's great, because once you get off of Columbus, you're in pre-Columbus.
Yeah, that's actually great. What a great juxtaposition, right?
Yeah.
So this is great. I mean, there's so much history here that we're kind of lucky to be part of it, Yeah,
like I said, I'm a first-generation immigrant. My parents came down from Canada, and we used to go back all the time, but I loved it here.
All right.
This was my home, and
Yeah.
there was no spot I didn't want to explore.
Oh,
around
me
here.
too. We're two peas in a pod then.
Yeah.
So let me get back to that, because I was talking to Paul at Wesleyan Church about the French immigration. See, when I was a kid, I didn't realize it because I wasn't really paying attention to the last names of everybody that lived here. But now that I'm older, and if you were to look at an aerial map of this place, I could say, okay, there's all French last names here. So
Yeah.
he said that was a lot of French Canadians that came down to work in the mills, perhaps.
Right here, right. This was the big draw. They used to, the priest from here, Father Supernant, when I was young, to 7 years old,
Yeah.
was actually his seminary was in Joliet, and my folks' town is just past Joliet by 30 miles.
Where's that?
30 miles north of Montreal.
Montreal, okay.
Northeast, actually, a little bit, but that's where my family's from. And my great grandfather came down with the family between 1920 and 1926 to try to make a living down here.
Yeah.
And he ended up taking the family back. But that was my aunt Duclos, was part of that family. So
Yep.
she saw this while she was young, went back to Canada, and then came back down here to live.
Yeah.
And that's what we've had waves of, from the same family, same town, coming down here because the draw was the mills. You know about the big fire that was here in 1895.
So there was a fire.
1895.
1895.
It was a May day. It was warm, and a southerly wind was like 25 miles an hour.
Yep.
And the fire started just 3 houses up from the tracks. And it hopscotched all the way up, and it stopped right in front of the church. Supposedly the priest came out with the host the way they do, and he blessed it, and the winds died down in the fire, and they got the fire under control. But
So-
my house was burned down completely, but the house across the street survived. The smaller houses that you see were the ones that survived. It started right this side of that yellow house, and it hopscotched up and down the
Up and
side
down.
of the street. That's a survivor. The one on the other side of Kufel's is a survivor.
Yeah.
I think Steve survived, but I'm not sure. The heights on the inside are more modern. So the house roof, if you see a roof line drop down, that was an old house.
Yeah.
Brookfield Power has donated all their land, which starts right here at Grove Street, and it's behind every yard here, to the Indian tribe, the Houdaunessee tribe that's out by Rochester.
So what are they going to do with it, though?
They have a lot of history here. The peacemaker came down here in 1320.
Wow.
Or 1340, because there was an eclipse in 1330 from Ontario all through the Mohawk tribes. And this guy said it was a sign that they should all make peace. The peacemaker, he was called, united all the Iroquois tribes into a confederacy that was like the basis of our federal state governments.
Really?
Each tribe had so much rights, but all together they hung together as a tribe. So what the Indians, what Brookfield Power gave the land back to them, and they want to make it original. So what they're doing is they're taking all of their infrastructure out of here. And when this is done, this is going to look like it was before the white man came here.
Really? They're going to
When
make
the
it like...
fog comes here, Cohoes disappears, you'd think this could be Indian land. Wow.
This is quite a unique time, because this is sort of undisturbed. It has been undisturbed.
There's no foundations there. There's almost no culverts. Really, this is gonna look so natural in 10 years when all the trees grow back and the towers are gone.
It's gonna be nice.
It's a great thing. Now, Waterford has an issue with this because they're afraid some kid's gonna come up here and fall off the cliff, and they'll have to rescue them. It's like, well, I'm sorry, but that's...
I think in all of my decades of being alive, I've only heard of maybe one person maybe falling a bit. That's about it.
There was one kid was chasing mosquitoes, free that kid, and he fell down 15 feet or so.
That's it?
That's all that I've known. We used to climb this everywhere
Oh,
But
yeah.
we were careful, you know. I mean, it taught you to be careful. If you wanted to come up here, you had to.
Well, sure. You
were
to.
too far away for help.
Oh, yeah. Our parents were at work, you know,
Yeah.
and you're just out exploring.
Isn't this awesome?
Ah, this is
What
great.
a walkway.
This is like, instead of the yellow brick road, we got
Timber brick, or timber block.
timber blocks, timbers.
But see, they're taking this all the way up to the second tower here, and the third tower. They're coming out of Columbus Avenue, and it's easier to rather than come all the way down with the parts. They're just going to jump it up about 100 yards.
Okay, okay.
Well, there's our bench.
Yeah, there's the historic bench.
Jack seat.
Yeah.
And the Indians owned the back of these houses straight up past the falls, and you know where Liberty's Grove is?
Yep.
Right up to that dam.
So what tribe is that?
The Houdaunessee. It's the Confederacy that involves the Senecas, the Oneidas, the Mohawks. I don't know exactly what they are, but they have a longhouse, modern longhouse built out by Rochester. That's their headquarters.
Yeah.
And I was talking with Doug Canetto, he's one of their lawyers, that at the time he came here, and when they gave him the land, they put a plaque over there, and they planted eastern white pine right at the end of Columbus Avenue. And so I contacted them, and I asked them, what's your plans here? They want to do a longhouse here. It's a communal, it's almost like an apartment house. It'd be like about 140 foot long, 40 foot wide, and it's set up like the Indians like.
It's almost like it's coming full circle again, because they were, you know, here first.
Yeah.
And that, you know, we always used to hear stories, well, how did the Cohoes get its name, or, you know.
Because an Indian was going over the falls and she yelled "Cahoos," which it meant something in their language, but I don't know what the translation was.
Interesting, though, how it's come full circle after.
This part of that Confederacy, it was called the East Gate. This is where their land started here at this falls, and it went all the way to basically past Niagara Falls into Ontario.
Okay.
Yeah, the Indians, you know, are taking back their land or trying to get some reparation for getting.
Oh, sure. And it's beautiful land to take.
Yeah,
you know,
it's all about the natural beauty that's here.
Sure.
Can you imagine any other place on earth that has gorges and cliffs like this?
Well, that's why
very few.
I feel just like you. I feel so fortunate to have this and to be able to experience this, you know, and to still to this day just marvel at it.
What a childhood that was.
Oh yeah.
There was, if my parents even had an inkling of where we were, I mean, they would have blown a gasket.
Oh sure.
But as long as I came home for supper time, everything was cool.
Yeah, that's cool. That's exactly what we did, you know. Ride our bikes through here even, you know.
Yeah.
Big mud puddles.
Dirt bikes up here all the time. When I first moved down to the store, I was 13 or 12. And we cleared out, this is where I first learned my mowing the yard. We mowed this, and we had an old army tent, you know, the kind with the
canvas,
sides, the canvas, no floor.
Oh, yeah.
It stayed up here from May until September. And
right here?
Yeah. My parents, hey, I'm going to sleep out. Okay. We'd come over here, and the first thing we would do, because we had curfew in Waterford.
Yeah.
Sneak down this back road, go over to Cohoes, and stay there till 3 or 4 in the morning.
Oh yeah, the good old days. Those were fun times.
Curfew taught us how to be sneaky. Right here, it's actually a natural fault. All this slate from here is, what do they say, churted. It's got stones in it from the turbulence when it was part of the Taconic Mountains. It was where rocks would fall to the bottom. But if you go further, deeper is further in time, okay?
Yeah. That's
oily. That was a deeper part of the ocean, and the only thing that's there is fish remains.
Yeah.
So that's why when you see slate and it's shiny and that was deeper water.
Okay.
And if you go to Schuylerville, there's pillow lava, which only happens below 1,500 feet of water.
Pillow lava.
Stark's Knob. You ever heard of it?
No.
It has to be under 1,500 feet of water, and it's the lava erupts under the ocean floor, and it cools off, and it makes these pillow-shaped rocks, and one on top of the other,
Yeah.
on top of the other. So
Interesting.
Schuylerville was 1,500, more than 1,500 feet deep in the water, and all this was, the shale was like pushed into itself. There's like 30-degree lines this side of the fault, but on the other side of the fault, it's steeper like this. So there's kind of a juxtaposition between the two faults.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And that's why the falls are here. The ground got steeper, and it resisted erosion more.
Yeah. Wow. You're the only one that I know that knows the history of the Cohoes Falls.
I just love it. It's
Yeah.
just everything. I spent so much time here.
Oh, me too.
The green swat of vegetation on the point right there.
Yeah.
When the water gets really high, it washes it clean, and then like 2 years later, it's built up.
It'll
builds
grow
up.
back? Really?
Yeah,
that middle part?
Yeah, because water rarely goes to that very point. Right of it was what we used to call the bubble.
Yep.
And I've watched that in my lifetime. That bubble has eroded down, started again, and now it's halfway. So that's like 70 years or 60 years. There's only a couple people that I know that dove off of the falls just to the right of that.
Really?
There's 3 people I know: Marcosaurus, Jesse Casaurus, and Danny White.
Dove off the falls? I didn't know it was that deep under
It's
there.
60 feet. It's 60 feet high. But the falls went at about a 30-degree angle, so they had to get a running start, and I swear, it scared me. I had to close my eyes because I did not want to look at it. And they ran and overcame like 30 feet of water to just of rock to hit the
rock
water.
to hit the water. So you're talking to the left of the part that protrudes, or to the right?
To the right.
To the right?
There's a pretty heavy stream of water, and actually it's that last black spot that to the right where it's darker, I mean.
Yeah.
That's the point that they jumped off of. Or not jumped, ran, because they had to project themselves out 20 feet, or 25, 30 feet, whatever
Wow.
it was.
That's that takes a lot of
Cayunes,
what.
baby.
Yeah.
Well, John,
Hey,
it's been
man.
wonderful.
Thank you very much, Norm. You know
If
what?
there's any more I can tell you,
Oh,
or,
dude,
I'll work on it.
you're the best, dude.
All right.
Seriously, that was huge. So it says March
March LaForest Norman with a D.
Night-
Ma. March 67.
1967. Do you remember that day?
We had just moved down to the store, and I was exploring here. I said, wow, this is cool. And I just scratched that in there.
That's so cool. 67.